14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
Episode 80 already? Really? Has Hometown Threads hit the big 80? 14 WILI and 95.3 FM. This is indeed episode 80 of Hometown Threads. Of course, you can catch it every Tuesday on the radio from 5:05 to 5:30 on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM. Thanks to our friends at Liberty Bank. Be community kind with 3 great local locations. Of course, right across the street from the station, 679 Main Street, Willimantic, West Main Street, Willimantic at Gateway Commons, and right down the street in Mansfield, Route 195, Liberty Bank. Be community kind. J. Matt Rupar, if you'd be so kind, say hello to the fine folks.
Hello?
Episode 80, of course, as I mentioned, Hometown Threads, big thanks to Liberty Bank and Tripoli Pro Clean Services. They sponsor the podcast for Hometown Threads at WILI.com, where you can also listen to all our great talk shows as well at WILI.com. And you'll be able to view Hometown Threads after it airs on the radio every week on the Keith C. Rice Facebook page, on Willimantic Today, on WILI Radio YouTube, and of course, Spectrum 192, because there are people that still have cable, believe it or not. So there's plenty of places to view it, but it runs every Tuesday right here first on the radio at WILI. And here we go, episode 80. It's a pleasure. We had Mom in just 9 episodes ago, Julie Cook Zarlengo, for Blondie's Diner. Here's her son, Brandon Smith. Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Good to be here.
It's great. He's been on my radar because you got some big news. It's been. I have to say, it's the buzz around town. If you love coffee, and who doesn't like coffee? Well, go ahead, Brandon. Tell us the big news. I'm sure people know already, but
yes, we are going to be opening up a Good Times Coffee House, the first one on Main Street in Willimantic, next to the Fine Fettle across from the DMV. Hopefully, in October, we will be opening.
Yes, so we're looking at October. No official date yet, right?
Nope, still tentative. Waiting on the health department. Going to get a clearance from them, hopefully sooner than later, and we'll be good to go. A couple of finishing touches, and that's it.
Talk to Hannah from Egg and Cheese about health department issues. She, I'm sure we all know each other around here. And Hannah's been on the show, and you're doing the right thing. You got to take the proper steps, and she had to, anyway, it worked out. Remember, she had some health department issues, and nothing that she did wrong, but it's part of the process.
It is part of the process, and they want everything to be done first before they come out and tell you what else you need to do. So, and you can imagine they're always backed up. So take some time, but got to do things the right way and make sure everything's good, which we want to do. So we'll take the time we need to and wait for them to come out and give us the green thumb.
This is the green thumb. Yeah, I like that. So I want to ask you, Good Times Coffee House. You're hoping to open in October down by next to DMV. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where are you doing this by yourself, or you have other people? Or is this your own baby?
Operations is going to be myself. And, I was backed, thankfully, by my amazing grandparents who have supported me nonstop through this. Whatever I haven't been able to cover, they've put in a lot of support, let's say.
So let's back up and get to know Brandon Smith a little bit more. How old are you?
26.
Okay. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Bolton, Connecticut, so Connecticut diehard fan.
Okay. Date of birth, Social Security? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Bolton, that's right.
10/26 if anyone wants to get me.
It's coming up. All right, so October 26th, don't forget. Wouldn't that be, are you trying to open on your birthday?
We're hoping to do a light opening before then, but we are also tentatively planning the grand opening on my birthday, which will be a Saturday.
It's on a Saturday. You want to do it on your birthday.
So I can, I'll get some family up here and get some people from the community in here into the shop and just hang out and we'll hopefully have some music going.
Ribbon cutting.
Maybe we'll get some ribbons going.
You got to get the ribbons. You got to get the radio station, WILI or I-98. We'll come up.
Yeah, we'll make it a whole scene if we can. Yeah. We'll blow this up as much as we can.
That's a great location. A lot of traffic.
Oh yeah.
Let's take off the DMV. Why not? No, but that'll be great if it's right on your birthday there. That'd be fantastic. So
it was nice. It coincided with that for sure.
Yeah.
And just, I knew I was going to be working on my birthday. Figured let's have an event and, make something special about it and, grand opening for the business. So.
All right, well, we'll get into coffee because I was just telling you off the air, before the cameras and the mics went on, I love coffee. And Matt Rupar can back me up on that. I'm always walking around with the coffee. Ironically, I've been running all over the place. I'm relying on water right now, but I've been drinking coffee all day, as you can probably tell. I'm sorry, that was a little acting job there. But yes, I'm always jacked up on coffee. So, Brandon from Bolton. Now, I know Julie, you guys all grew up in Bolton. That's where you're born and raised. Julie, obviously, when she was in here, I'm from Bolton. So that's where you guys... Your family's born, everyone's from Bolton, right?
Yeah, we're originally from Bolton. My grandparents came up from Florida way back when my mom was little, and we've lived in Bolton ever since. And Willimantic became a huge part of our community about 9 years ago with Blondie's Diner, which was a huge obvious as for why I chose Willimantic, along with a few other vital factors. But yeah, I was just super familiar with Willimantic and the people in the community, so... we love Bolton, and we also love Willimantic, our two homes.
Your mom has definitely made a name for herself. Blondie's Diner, a legendary breakfast eatery, an elite eatery in this town, and it's just great to see you kind of following in Mom's footsteps. Now, so your mom's been doing it for 9 years, and I think she said that she even was involved in the restaurant business a little before that. So obviously you got into it at an early age. Tell us a little about that. Like you went to. Well, take us through. You went to RAM, I'm assuming, right?
Bolton, actually. They do have their own high school. No, that's right. Super small town. So we did have our own high school. Went there, graduated in 2015 or 16. I can't remember. And
were you
from
doing
there,
restaurant stuff in high school too?
No, my first job, kind of. I mean, my first job was working at Munson's Chocolate.
Oh, yes, of course.
And then I worked at Manchester Hospital in their kitchen. No cooking or anything, but, dishes and whatnot. So I was always in that industry. And then just, like most people can probably relate, I didn't have a super clear path as to what I wanted to do. I just knew that school wasn't really my cup of tea. And I'm sure everything would have panned out great regardless, but it was just super cool that my mom was opening a restaurant around the time I was graduating. Actually, I think a little bit before I graduated. And I just wanted to help her out. It was a family thing. It sounded super cool. And she needed the help, and I needed something to do.
Great. So you were hired at Blondie's.
I was hired at Blondie's, dishwashing.
Dishwashing? Just dishwashing? Were you waiting tables too?
No, actually, I was not allowed to wait tables. I don't know if I should say that or not.
I want to know why. Are you allowed to say this or not?
No. Let's just say I was not. I was not server material. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. Just dishwashing material.
Dishwashing material to start, and then remember flipping my first pancake, and I had some super great people teach me some of their cooking skills, and I guess it was just something that clicked for me, and I was really good at it.
So you cooked too, not just dishwashing. You were cooking.
Oh, I ended up cooking. Yeah, I ended up cooking actually.
Good
believe it or
you.
not. Yeah. I was allowed to do that after a little bit. So after cooking and cooking there for a couple of years, I ended up doing some other stuff. Took a little bit of time off. Lived in Florida for a couple of years, and when I came back, I continued to help her with her second restaurant. And I've been running that for about 2 years, Blondie's Country Diner in Chaplin. So I did that and just kind of felt like it was time to start branching off to do my own thing. And I wanted to add my own twist on the town with coffee and do something that I was really passionate about, kind of in that niche of the service industry, if you will.
So you're passionate about coffee too.
Oh, very passionate about coffee. We can sit here all day and talk about coffee.
All right, we will, because we're going to talk a lot about Good Times Coffee House and all that. But let's go back to Florida for a second. This is right out of high school. What made you want to go to Florida? What'd you do down there?
Long story short, I guess, I was trying to just find a path, and I wanted to leave the house for a little bit, wanted to get out, do my own thing. I ended up taking some classes at Full Sail. I was super into music, still am, huge hobby of mine. And I just kind of had to pick something to do, it felt like, so that was it. And after realizing that I still didn't like school, believe it or not, I did not finish doing that, and I came back to just keep grinding, and figure out what I was really passionate about.
What part of Florida? I'm just curious.
Orlando.
Orlando. I know Southwest Florida. So whenever I hear someone bring up Florida, I gotta know what part. But anyway, so you do the Orlando thing for a couple of years. What was the final straw where you said, I've had enough of Florida, I want to come home? What made you just missed home, or what?
Yeah, it was definitely a couple of things. I remember that I was ready to come home. And on top of that, I think I had kind of finished doing school there, and I was just working in restaurants.
You work in restaurants?
And that's actually was where I got my serving experience, because I had never served before. So I specifically looked for serving jobs there, which I got for a little bit. And then I remember there were some personal things going on in life. And then on top of that, my mom was running a Blondie's Pizza at the time, where my coffee shop is now going to be.
Did she tell us about Blondie's Pizza, man? I don't remember.
We probably try to keep that conversation away from things. So as you can imagine, it's not around anymore. But it was a good try. It was a good concept, and I came back because she needed some help with that. Things weren't going as planned, so I kind of found ourselves in the same situation. I needed something to do, and she needed some help, and round 2 started. So started working for Mom again.
So I think they send you to Florida to get serving experience. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So you got to go somewhere out of this state so people don't remember you.
Go to Florida, work on your serving experience, then come back up to I'm kidding. So, all right. So you come back up here. You're helping Mom with the other place in Chaplin. I always want to call it Blondie's Part 2. What's it called again? Blondie's Country Diner. Blondie's Country Diner.
We still call it Pine Acres, so that's okay.
That's right. The old name was Pine Acres. Okay, so now let's get into Good Times Coffee House.
Yeah.
When does the idea first pop into? Is it your head, or obviously, it's going to come from you. Did you go to Mom first? Tell us how it all went down. And when?
The concept has been in the making for about 6 years now. I knew that, after struggling to kind of find my path after high school, and being in this industry and seeing it so up close from my mom, I knew that I wanted to stick with it. I loved the idea of creating a space for people to come together, just the community atmosphere, and that also adds to why I went with this concept versus a traditional restaurant. Is that's a little bit too cookie cutter, and you order your food, and you eat, you get out. Where this is kind of a space where you can come in just a typical coffee shop, relaxed vibes, and you want to come, work on some stuff on your computer. You want to come with a friend and hang out, or just chat with us for a little bit and get to know us. That's what we're here for. So it was really about the space, and then it was just a bonus that in my off time, I get super bored and I dive into all kinds of things about coffee, and I get crazy about that. So I learned a lot about it, and I had a really great job apprenticing with a roaster in West Hartford. And so he taught me a lot, which, a lot of inspiration came from him. And that was kind of where it all started from.
So now I'm interested in this because as much as I love coffee, I don't want to make this is probably, I don't know if this is a poor analogy, but is roasting coffee similar to like brewing beer? There's an art, there's a science to it?
Absolutely. I always say that it's no different than the craft beer industry. I mean, if you want to go drink a Budweiser, drink a Budweiser. If you want to go to Dunkin', go to Dunkin'. But if, you like something that's got a little bit more love poured into it, and somebody really spent a lot of time on the back end crafting something that, they produced a product, and they are presenting it the way that they want to present it, and hopes that it's good and people enjoy it, then that's what we do. That's why you get a craft beer, or that's why somebody becomes a sommelier with wine. And believe it or not, the coffee process is actually far more intricate than wine, the process of creating a really nice bottle of wine or beer or anything. Yeah, there's a lot of stages to it. You've got growing it in the right conditions. You've got the processing of the cherry itself to get the seeds. And then there's several different ways that you can process the bean, and then you got to roast the bean a million different ways you could do that. And then you've got to brew the bean. There's a million ways you could do that. So there's a lot of places it could go wrong, and there's no kind of place to make up for error. If you have a good bottle of wine or a bottle of wine and it's not great, you can just add some sugar to it or whatever.
Sure.
And make it fine. Whereas if you don't have a good product, it can only get worse if you don't know what you're doing.
Brandon Smith is with us. Episode 80 of Hometown Threads, brought to you by Liberty Bank. Be community kind. And he's getting ready to open up Good Times Coffee House sometime in October, roughly maybe around October 26th, which is his birthday, we hope. So fingers crossed. We know you'll keep us updated. But back to the art. So you're going to be doing all this. I know you don't want to, let out any of your secrets. You don't reveal too much, because this is, right, as far as how you're going to make the coffee. You're going to have... Here's a question. I've got so many questions.
Hit me.
It's all the coffee I've been drinking. What more can we expect besides tremendous coffee at Good Times Coffee House? And actually, the first part of the question: how big square footage is this place going to be?
We've got a 2,000 square foot space. Unfortunately, a lot of it at the moment is being wasted. We're hoping that with some great success and some support from the community that we can reconstruct the space a little bit to have a larger customer area. But right now we seat about, I think it was just short of 30 people.
Really?
So not bad, quiet, quaint, and comfortable. And aside from the coffee, that definitely with our other products that we're going to have, the love and craft pours into all those other products that we're going to have. It's what we're all about. We want to use a lot of local products, small companies, small businesses in town if we can, for some of our products, like our breads for paninis we're going to have.
Oh, I was about to ask you what's going to be like
we'll
on the
some
menu.
Food. Definitely going to do a couple of different paninis. We'll have pastries all made in-house. We might do a couple that are store-bought if we can find, again, the right people that are local. And then aside from that, other beverages we'll have are some teas. We'll do loose leaf teas. And aside from coffee, the next most exciting thing for me is kombucha. If people aren't familiar with that, it is a fermented tea beverage that is kind of the new health kick. It's great for the gut biome and whatnot, and just super good for you. But it's also really tasty, and it's another craft beverage. For me, I'm super excited about it because I used to be a huge soda drinker because I loved carbonation.
Oh, we all went through the soda phase. Right?
Yeah. So big soda guy, and not anymore because I now love to drink kombucha, which is nicely carbonated and sweet and refreshing. So.
I've heard of that thing. Tell me a little more about how do you say it again? Kombucha.
Kombucha. I think I've heard a couple of different ways to say it. Kombucha, but
it's almost like
haven't been corrected too much.
A quote unquote better substitute for soda. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely. It's not no high fructose corn syrup. No, not a whole lot of sugar. That's definitely mitigated. And like I said, it's used so. You basically brew tea and you get a culture. It's called a SCOBY. I forget what that stands for. And you put that in the tea and it ferments for anywhere between 5 and maybe 21 days, depending on your liking. And there ends up being a little bit of alcohol content. Supposed to stay below 0.5, otherwise I have to get a liquor license. So
hey, you never know. Maybe down the road.
Which we would like to
Good
do.
Times Coffee House.
That is super tentative in the future.
Really?
We would like to do.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right?
Yeah, don't want to get too far ahead, but no, we would love to do some nighttime stuff in the future. So keep
bring
that
some
in
entertainment. J. Matt Rupar playing guitar.
Absolutely.
Are you thinking about maybe down the road in a little entertainment too? Because you have a passion for music as well.
For sure, I want to somehow include, which I have a little bit of an idea for that now, including some music and just a space to be able to do, some nighttime events or even morning events, whatever it may be. From like my grand opening, I'm planning on my sister being there to play some guitar. So she'll be providing some of the atmosphere and music and all that.
I think Julie's mentioned. What's her name again?
Brooke.
And
two sisters. Brooke is the little bit more musical one, and Holly is the server you'll find at Blondes.
That's right. Holly's at Blonde. Now, Brooke was out in Colorado, right?
She was,
and
yes.
What's Brooke do again? Is she involved in the restaurant industry at all?
No, she'll help out here and there when she's back in town, but she's doing her thing in school right now, and she just finished up her internship in Colorado. So she's getting out of the industry. Good for her, if it's not her cup of tea.
I see what you did there, a cup of tea.
She's doing good things for herself though in college and whatnot.
You got to be so excited now. What is take us through a day of Brandon Smith as you get ready to open a coffee shop, Good Times Coffee House. Take us through. Is it ever? You ever wake up one day? I'm sure it happens to everyone. It happens to Matt and myself too. Like I feel so overwhelmed. What do you do preparing to open up a new place? Like take us through a day.
Well, yeah, you wake up and you are overcome with anxiety. It is. It's crazy. I've been in this industry, like I said, very up close for 9 years. I've helped my mom open both of her restaurants in a small way and the second one in a big way. And still, that doesn't prepare you for it. The things that you're going to have to take on and the jobs. I mean, I like coffee and serving people. That doesn't mean I like doing, content creation and construction and reconstruction and paperwork. So yeah, it's just all these is super extra added layers to it that you kind of expect, but again, it's one of those things you can't really know until you're there.
One thing at a time, right?
So, and it is, yeah. You just keep making a list and keep crossing things off of it and keep making a list, and hope that by the time you want to open, everything is dwindled down and crossed off that list.
Does mom get on you every now and then? Did you do this? Did you do that? Because I'm sure she's got to be on you about. First, she's extremely proud, obviously, but you got to, she's probably. Did you check that? Did you do that? Right? Is she doing that or what?
I think this is the first time she is excited to not have to do that because it is not her business and name on it.
Is that why she's on vacation?
So yeah. So she is. We've had a long history of that as her being obviously the head honcho at Blondie's. So it's nice that she understands, and I understand why. I certainly take her advice and input where I look for it and where she wants to give it. Absolutely, but nope. There's no overstepping. There's no one kind of overseeing. My grandfather was a project manager for his entire life at Pratt & Whitney, so he's really the one that's been, keeping up with everything and making sure
That's
I've
awesome.
got all my, everything in order, which has been huge. Again, one of those things I could not have done it without him. Some of it's just so hard to navigate,
I just love the family connections in this town, family business. You're talking to someone right here who grew up around a radio family. But we're getting ready to close things up. A couple more questions, and then the final question I usually ask all my guests. Mm-hmm. First of all, briefly, if you may, touch on your passion for coffee, and then I got another question, and then we'll get ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, so my passion for coffee started, it was a plethora of things kind of throughout my life that lined up, and started with my grandfather, Earl, who everyone called him either Eb or Bappa. So my original, and I guess parent company, if you will, is EB Coffee Roasting, because I started roasting coffee a couple of years ago. It was just my hobby, and I made it a quote-unquote business, just so I could,
wow.
it was something to. I got a job doing it because, when I got into coffee, I like drinking coffee. When I was younger, just always watching my grandfather drink it, like you. He's always just had a cup of coffee in his hand. It's one of those things he'll always be remembered for. Was
my grandfather had gin and tonic in his hand, but
yeah. So we're thankful his was coffee. I just remember growing up wanting to be like him, and he was always an inspiration. So I always wanted to be cool and drink coffee like Eb, and. When I was looking for new jobs and something different to do, coffee spoke out to me. And it just, something about how much you could dive into the science behind it really spoke to me, because it was a mix of, art, and it was a mix of science, which was just super cool to me. So it's just, it was a perfect storm. It caught my attention. I had a link to it, and from there, it's just been growing ever since.
It's just, I love hearing these kind of stories. One more quickie, and then the final question I usually ask all my guests. I want to tell us briefly, what was it like the day you got the building? Like, oh my God, this is going to happen.
Yeah, I've definitely had some bigger oh crap moments, but that was that was like a really cool feeling. That was like on top of the world, like finally, like I waited and we're here. And then from there it kind of turned excitement into, all right, what are we doing here? Really though, what are we supposed to do now?
Deer in headlights.
Yeah. So, but it's been great.
And then I got to ask you, as we wrap things up, as I usually ask all my guests, shout out, show love to. I'm sure you have a laundry list of people you could thank, but off the top of your head, the people have really helped you out through this journey for Brandon Smith.
I would hate to miss anyone, but off the top of my head, 100%. My grandparents have been my number one fans. My mom for, the opportunities that she's provided me. My dad and his wife for the time and energy they've put into coming up here and helping me with the projects at the shop right now. I'm not a renovations guy, and my dad does a great job with that. And just the rest of my family, everyone's been super, super supportive. They've bought my coffee. They've sent me nice messages, and I hope to see some of them up here, for my grand opening, and just, so.
Well, I know we just crossed paths briefly, but I'm very proud of you. That means anything.
Thank you, absolutely.
You should have brought in a sample, but I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh, I was running around and I should have.
You got enough on your plate. I'm just kidding.
Soon.
Good Times Coffee House. Now, I know you're accepting interviews too. If anyone wants to, are you still hiring? Going through the hiring process, all that stuff?
Absolutely, still hiring. If anyone would like to shoot an inquiry to goodtimes.coffeehouse2024@gmail.com. We were always taking inquiries and definitely hiring right now.
Okay, and the location, once again, once it opens, hopefully the end of October?
Yes, 1548 Main Street, Willimantic, Connecticut, next to Fine Fettle, across from the DMV.
Now we're looking forward to it. Will you do everyone a favor? Open it on your birthday.
All right.
Times Coffee House. He's going to shoot for October 26th. I'm kidding. It'll probably be sometime mid-late October, right?
Hopefully a little earlier, soft opening. If you're driving by, take a look, keep peeking in the window. But October 26th, most definitely stop in.
And you already have a Facebook page. Follow it on Facebook, right?
Absolutely. Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff is up. Good Times Coffee House. You will definitely find us.
Brandon Smith, good luck. I'm sure I'll see you around.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me here.
Great to have Brandon in here for episode 80 of Hometown Threads, brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. Thank you to Triple E Pro Clean Services as well, J. Matt Rupar, Willimantic Today Facebook. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And in the words of the great Roddy McCumber.
Bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willimantic Today page on Facebook.